apart from politics and everything that is happening between us, Homo sapiens, crazy people, we really have one planet. Of course, we have some exoplanets, but we cannot reach them. That's obvious. We cannot even go to Mars yet. Of course, someday we will, but for now, it's our only planet. And I think it will be really silly to ignore that there are changes. I think even the people who didn't care about it understand now that something is happening, we need to act. And it's not that difficult. Again, being conscious as a person, and especially we need to reach out to companies, big companies who produce the plastic, big companies who are involved in any kind of business. I strongly suggest them to go sustainable, and not only in words, because it's not only great for your conscience, great for your employees, motivation, but also a lot of money right now.
Welcome to Care More, Be Better, a podcast for people like you who care about the social impact of conscious companies and everyday heroes. Hear inspiring stories from those who put people and planet before profit and personal gain. You'll learn how you can make a difference, vote with your dollars, and get involved today. Here's your host, Corinna Bellizzi.
Hello, fellow do-gooders and friends. I'm your host, Corinna Bellizzi. Every week, I invite you to care more about particular issues so that we can create a better world together. Today, we're going to talk about another story that begins in Ukraine and extends to our global ecosystem health by leveraging the power of data and technology. I'm thrilled to finally introduce you to Vera Petryk after 4 scheduling changes due to certain disruptions in Ukraine and in my home state of Central California, or it's a part of California rather, just because we've been pummeled by recent storms. But enough about all of that. Vera Petryk serves as a chief marketing officer of EOS Data Analytics, a Ukraine-based company that is bringing the benefits of space to Earth. They use low-orbit satellite observation to provide solutions for smart decision-making here on Earth. Their main focus is on agriculture and forestry, 2 topics we've talked a bit about here. They currently align with 9 of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, including climate action, clean water and sanitation, ending hunger, and supporting life on land. Wow. Vera, welcome to the show.
Yeah. Hello. Thanks for having me.
It's so lovely to have you here. I wanted to first really just offer you the opportunity to share the great news of what you've been able to execute recently, the launch of a new satellite.
Yeah, I just want to say one remark. We're actually headquartered in the United States, and we have some people working here. So we're not a Ukrainian company, we're a United States-based company, but yeah, we are proudly funded by Max Polyakov, a philanthropist and a doctor of science. He's Ukrainian, so of course we have some Ukrainian people here. Yeah, the exciting news is that no matter what happens on this blue dot, whatever political or environmental stuff, we had a great celebration. We actually launched our first satellite via SpaceX on the 3rd of January. Yay! It was a tremendous amount of work for everyone. And if anyone wishes to see the live, we're actually had the live stream on space.com.
Wow. Okay. So talk to us about what that means. I understand you essentially have put into orbit what is called a constellation of satellites that can observe what's happening here on Earth. How does this technology really work to help us monitor things like the impacts of agriculture and forestry?
Mm-hmm. So apart from the Constellation, we've been working in this niche since 2015, primarily in agriculture. And we have this product that is called ESD Crop Monitoring. We actually have 900,000 users, and we have users in every country of the world. So it's not something absolutely new. You monitor the Earth from the space, and you use a special set of bands on the satellites to detect the radio waves. And then you translate it with the artificial intelligence into a digital platform. And just to say it in easy words, you open your laptop, you mark your field that you want to monitor, and you can see there will be different indices like NDVI, NDMI, which stands for vegetation or water, moisture accountant. And this will be translated for you in easy as in green and red. Obviously, the red means bad and the green means good. So if we talk about the small holding farmers, We try to make our platform as easy as possible. And there are some competitors out there that do the same, especially in North America. But what makes us now different is that we firstly tried and talked to our customers. We supplied them with this technology because you can use the free satellites by European Space Agency, the Sentinel-2, for example. So they're very nice to share the data with us, with people who do scientific work with it. But you don't own the data. The revisit time is different. And for us, we've combined their knowledge, our experience, the customer reviews, and we understood that this will be a game changer. The satellite constellation is going to be 7 optical satellites, and we've just received the signal from our first one. So we are on our way to change, hopefully, the agricultural world for the better.
Wow. Now, I want to take a step back for a minute because I realize you didn't get your start this side of the industry, so to speak, in the world of technology. Your start in the workforce is a little different than what, well, most people in data and analytics might have experienced. Can you talk for a moment about that?
About my experience as a marketer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sure. Well, I've been working for 12 years in this field, and I've been working as a head of marketing for 6 years now. And this is basically my dream job because
Hmm.
I'm a geek and a nerd and eco activist, and I'm crazy about space. So once I got the knock on LinkedIn, I was like, woo, this is space. It looked different. The brand looked different. There was no marketing department. Right now, we have 26 people, and we're
Mm.
expanding. We're hiring 8 more this year. So, yeah, I think this is the coolest job because you get to do something you really care about. And, I know people and companies especially use sustainability word now too many times. And it makes me really happy that it's not just words here. We actually apply it in every product, every solution that we work with.
Fantastic. So, as we talk about how this satellite technology is infused with EOS data analytical products and how that contributes to our overall ability to measure greenhouse gases impact within the environment. I mean, it sounds like you're taking something that might have been visualized in a way through an inconvenient truth 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago, and modernizing it in a way that's more digestible. What can people expect to see from your company? Is it a visual that we would be able to see? Like, what can they expect to see with this data?
Well, you can even try it right now. You can Google ESD crop monitoring, and we have the free trial. Go out there and just to have fun. It's free for 14 days, and you actually mark your field, and you can see how it's the planting season, the yield season, how does it work, and if your crop is healthy. So
Hmm.
we have the special indices that are explained in the, I would say, easy manner. It's still not easy for me, but for scientists, it's easier. And you can understand, do I need to use more fertilizer? Or
Hmm.
does my soil has enough water? Is the vegetation going the right way or not? And
Hmm.
with this EOS set, with the satellite, we will not be only able to see the problem, but we'll be able to tell you how to deal with it.
I didn't realize it would actually measure moisture levels within the soil itself.
It
So,
does already.
how can it do that from space? This is just kind of a
Well,
mind blown moment for me.
this is probably a question to one of our 60 scientists and 25 PhD professors who work on it. I can tell you from marketing point of view, we just say it's called NDMI, it's a moisture index. It's one of
Uh-huh.
them that will allow you to understand is there enough water and if there is enough water in the soil and in the vegetation itself. They use special bands and they calculate these waves, and then they go above and beyond with the artificial intelligence, and all
Mhm.
together they combine it into easy to use platform. But as a marketer, I will not be able to tell you the formulas. Maybe next time we can invite someone else. We usually have like scientists with us, and we're like, okay, so tell us how it works really.
Wow. Well, I just have to say, it's starting to sound like we're looking at Earth as if we're space explorers in a way. If I hear about a probe going to another planet and being able to ascertain what the moisture levels are there without putting boots on the ground, that has has always kind of sparked a little bit of curiosity, but not enough that I've gone and done the additional research. I assumed it was, something that they were doing on the ground. And so I think I just dismissed it at that. But if this is something that a satellite is able to image and then ultimately tell us, I mean, that's incredible, especially if, let's say, a farmer has a vast plot of land and they're not able to be on the ground in every particular spot or have that continual boots on the ground monitoring. They can actually see that from the constellation web that you have in the sky through satellite.
It's the one that it's usually measured the soil, the carbon, and the moisture. People usually go and take a sample. So what we do, we kind of tell them exactly, if you have a vast land, it's not only farmers. What we work with agro holdings, input suppliers, IT companies, you name it. So they have vast lands, and it takes a lot of labor effort to go and check, and it's very expensive. So with this, you can indicate the area, and we call this feature a scouting. So you kind of have your farmers, for example, who work in this field, and you say, okay, I can see like on that kilometer somewhere there, you need to check. We can see that there is a problem. And only then they go and take the sample, which of course saves a lot of money and a lot of time.
Right. Well, I'm thinking about the applications for prevention of wildfires, because I imagine there's a direct line there as well. If you're able to see the moisture levels in trees, what more can you tell from space about whether it's at risk or what the fire danger risk actually is at a particular point? Or could it even detect a fire before it had been reported another way, and so we could deal with it?
Yeah, this is done mostly right now by NASA fire alerts. We've been working on our new product. It's pretty new, the forestry EOS forestry monitoring, and we want to apply this feature. It's not ready yet, but if you want to check, you can at least, I can suggest, because with the fires that's happening around the world and especially in California, you can set up. It's free. It's NASA fire alerts, but we'll be applying it soon, hopefully.
Very cool. So, as we dig deeper into this subject, why did you choose to study specifically or to work in this way? Why did you aim your career at focusing on preserving the planet overall?
Well, I've been an eco activist since I was 14. Now I'm 32, so it's probably half of my life, even more. And I've been planting trees every birthday. So now I've planted 28 trees. And of course, it was always my intention to do something else, do more. And this was a perfect chance for me to create, especially I was given this freedom to create a brand and kind of make the core of our vision sustainability. So we have, our mission is to equip businesses with a satellite analytics. And our vision, as I usually say, our goal or a dream is to use space tech as a global provider of sustainability on Earth. And well, I think my whole life, and I think it should be everyone's life, because apart from politics and everything that is happening between us, Homo sapiens, crazy people, we really have one planet. Of course, we have some exoplanets, but we cannot reach them. That's obvious. We cannot even go to Mars yet. Of course, someday we will, but for now, it's our only planet. And I think it will be really silly to ignore that there are changes. I think even people who didn't care about it understand now that something is happening, we need to act. And it's not that difficult, it's again being conscious as a person, and especially we need to reach out to companies, big companies who produce the plastic, big companies who are involved in any kind of business. I strongly suggest them to go sustainable, and not only in words, because it's not only great for your conscience, great for your employees, motivation, but also a lot of money right now, because 2050, we're going to have so much more people living on this planet, and the soil degradation is going to get up to 60%. So we are wasting our soil with the heavy machines, with the fertilizers, with the climate change. All of it impacts, and we need to understand that if you want to eat, you have to care.
Right.
at least this
So
way.
it sounds relatively simple when you put it that way. But the reality is there are so many bad actors around the world. I mean, and I don't want to necessarily point fingers, but you look at something as simple as the beverage industry. And the
Hmm.
beverage industry overall mostly uses plastic for many reasons, but they are a huge portion of the problem when it comes to our overuse of resources and ultimately putting sugar water into people's veins that they probably don't need, right?
Right.
Developing products that are, somewhat addictive and also spike their blood sugar and utilize resources that, again, if we would just go to the faucet and drink water or make some tea or something along those lines, we'd be living healthier, saving money, and not utilizing these resources. So, is there a way that what you're doing with EOS Data Analytics in particular can actually help shine light some of these companies? I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to understand as the technology expand beyond, farming and agriculture, forestry to being able to see emissions coming from plants around the world.
Yeah, we can, but we are not deeply involved in it right now. I think we are not fighting the big companies. We are
Hmm.
just encouraging the other companies to go sustainable and to use science and to use the space tech power to create something good and to preserve what we have. I don't think, again, that there is something that we need to fight with, but from the marketing perspective, we've launched this year a so-called social case studies that showcase our mission to preserve the planet. And we work with people from around the world. For example, we were highlighting the story about the illegal oil peel in Amazon in
Mm,
Ecuador. I actually been there myself. It
mm,
was my best 3 days in the Amazon forest. I've met amazing indigenous people there, and I was trying to help them. And this way, we could use satellite data and proof of, because the government is also corrupt, and they say no, nothing happened. And the indigenous people, they don't have that much of a voice, right? As exposure to digital technology as we have. They live from the land, they eat from the land, they drink from it. So this is one case. Another one is my probably favorite was with the fantastic woman from Chad. She
mm,
reached out to us with the problem. Her local resources, local communities were scarce on resources. And of course,
mm,
because of the climate change, they're moving to the place that is greener, obviously. And of course, they started fighting. So what we did, we've created the 3D map of the whole territory and pinpoint like here's water and here's the forest and here are the crops. And then the people from 130 communities came and actually told us, yes, so here we keep our water, here we keep, like, there's the migration of animals. And the problem was probably not solved 100%, but it actually made an impact. And like the latest, sorry, I just love these social case studies. And the latest, I think we've released it yesterday. We've showcased the problem of Munduruku indigenous people who live in Brazil. They suffer
mm.
from illegal gold mining, and it's polluting the air, it's polluting the land, and people cannot live there. And again, I think not only by producing products and helping businesses, we are also trying to bring the awareness. And I think these people, indigenous people, are the ones that are earth advocates, and we should put them first because they know how we should live. There's nothing that we need to come up with. It's all done. We've created the problem. What did humans do? Plastic. We invented plastic. That's famous
Yeah.
comedian said. So yeah, I guess. And besides that, all of our solutions, all of our products are based on this United Nations sustainability goals. And anytime we work on something, we keep them in mind. And this year, we're even launching the separate product line for sustainability.
Fantastic. So, the product line for sustainability, can you clarify what that is?
It's not done yet. It's in progress. So
Okay.
once
So,
we have
once they're
I'll
ready, you'll
send
come back
you.
on and talk to us about it.
Yeah, we just created the roadmap for this year. But actually, like with the probably the best example is that you can count the carbon in the soil, carbon emission in the soil, and it also costs a lot of money. And we work
Mhm,
with one Australian company where they have the governmental program for farmers. If you do the green farming, if you do everything according to the rules, then they take the sample and the government actually pays them back. So again, it's very expensive and very difficult to detect it. And with our technology, it's the special custom solution prepared by our scientists, wonderful scientists. This way, you can measure it just from your platform, just from your laptop.
Wow. So, what is the cost of a program like this? I realize you have a 14-day program where any farmer can go and sample the technology. I imagine it's the software as a service subscription platform. So, what does that look like?
Well, we're not really primarily focused on farmers. We have the
Mhm.
14 days trial for such people, and we also give up 300 hectares of a farm. If you have only 300 hectares, you can use the product for free with a limited set of features.
Oh, wow.
We work with big companies. We
Mm.
are B2B, business to business. And of course, in that matter, it's a different kind of money. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's
More
expensive.
custom
I would say
solutions,
we're
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a different story. But if we talk about people like who work with land, we try to support them by providing them with free access. And we also have this academic outreach program.
Mm.
Is when we allow scientists, researchers, university students who work on the same researches or that showcase the same or align with our vision of sustainability. We give up our products.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, last year, well, I guess it was actually almost a year and a half ago, I interviewed Paul Hawken on his work Regeneration, Ending the Climate Crisis in One Generation. And after that, I went through a deep dive of his book, going chapter by chapter. And one of the things that was surprising to me that I didn't know before reading the book was that our wetlands and our grasslands were responsible for sequestering so very much carbon within the soil. Is your technology able to look at the whole globe and tell us these are the spots that are actually working best that we need to preserve? Because I know there's these big initiatives to try and say, we need to set aside 30% of our land and not just, the dry arid land. We need to set aside good land and let it ultimately sit and rest and go a little wild in order to help this globe regenerate. I'm just hoping you can offer some color there.
So for now, it is not possible to detect the whole world, the whole globe, because you kind of take one spot and you go and do your homework. It
Mm,
takes a lot of time. We don't work with raw data, with satellite data. So our scientists are actually working with each satellite image to understand it, and then they use different algorithms to detect it. But with this EOS set constellation, right now we have only one satellite, but we're gonna have 7 satellites by 2025, and we'll be able to monitor up to 95% of all farmlands and forest land on our globe. So yeah,
well.
maybe in 2025 we can get back to it and check if I was right, or it was just marketing.
Well, getting those satellites launched successfully, I know it poses some challenges too. Like you have to get that ride, right? So going with
Oh
SpaceX
yeah,
in
it
January.
was super scary because it didn't. We call it. It didn't wake up like for probably 2 hours, and everyone was just freaking out because we saw it. We had this huge celebration. We saw the satellite, going into space. Everyone is happy, and it's actually a lot of work because it's moving with a crazy speed, and you have to detect it, especially from the ground stations. It has to be precise, but it's alive. Everything is good, and we're waiting for calibration. I think the first images, the ones that is going to be used for analytics, are going to come up in March, late March or early April.
Wow, fantastic. Now, I think many people who follow science have heard about the launch of a certain telescope that didn't have its lens calibrated correctly, and so all the images were blurry.
Yeah,
There are
Hubble. Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Or it was
exactly,
a piece of
Hubble.
hair, I think. Yeah.
It was a paint chip or something to
Mhm.
that effect, like literally something thinner than a strand of hair
Yeah,
difference,
yeah.
but it
Hmm.
affected how the actual image would be conveyed to Earth. At first, I thought, oh, well, they must have just done an algorithmic change, but no, the lens had to actually be replaced.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's very
That's
expensive.
why they keep it in a sterile place. No one's is allowed to touch it.
Yeah.
And it takes like 2 days. It's all people wearing white, like in movies. Exactly the same.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit beyond just wearing the special gloves to keep from damaging your comic books or
I would
whatever,
not
right?
want to be around it. I'm clumsy, just to make sure.
Truly a clean room. So it sounds like at EOS Data Analytics, you guys have this certain philanthropic streak to the company as well, because not only the way you're funded, but because of the fact that you're offering so much of what you do for free to help advance science and also to help those smallhold farmers monitor their land and see what they're doing right, make improvements. I think that's all fantastic. Do you have any other non-business related projects that are really driving forward for societal impact?
I think those are the ones that we have for now, and I really don't know like what else we can come up from with
Yeah.
like social case studies. We are moving around the globe right now. We're working on the drought season in Iowa when there was a lot of corn fields damaged, and we've interviewed very interesting people. So I think with the social case studies, you can help people around the world in different places. With the academic outreach program, you can, advance the science, give them
Mhm.
the products to use for free. And I just love people who think and who use their knowledge for the benefit of humankind. I think we should help them out, and they will do all the work because
Yeah.
they already know what has to be done.
Well, and it sounds like just through these collaborations, any number of new ideas could come about. I mean,
Yeah,
ultimately,
lots
that's
of them.
that's how this works, right?
Yeah, right now
Fantastic.
we just want to do some positive eco study because there's so many awesome things happening in the world right now. We want to have something else and showcase there are so many people who actually are silent heroes. There's a couple in South America who refused to leave their land, and they planted 1 million trees throughout their life. No one
Yeah, I
paid them.
saw that.
They brought
No.
birds, they brought insects.
They
It's
change the
alive,
entire
living. Yeah.
ecology. It's incredible.
Mhm.
So, I mean, even with the trees that you're planting each year on your birthday, I love that tradition. Is it a specific plot of land that you're doing it on, or are they in different places?
It's all in Ukraine, in Kiev, right here,
Mhm.
and it's different. It's chestnut tree because it's a symbol of our capital, and it's sakura, all of
Mhm.
kinds. And I
Yeah.
actually made my friends do it, but they're not very enthusiastic about it. So I do it myself, and then I come to a party.
Yeah, I get that. That's beautiful. So I'm curious. I think we've talked about this a bit, but how else do you think that the company might evolve over the course of the next few years as you get more satellites in the sky?
Well, I think we're just gonna become one of the leaders. We're already in the top 10, I would say, throughout the world. And I think our main ambition right now is to become the experts, the leaders. And we have
Yeah.
everything to like we have the possibilities, we have the technology, we have the bright minds, and so many determined people. it's
Yes.
it's fantastic when you work with a group of people who really care about what they're doing. It makes it a lot of fun, and it makes it heartwarming. You go home after a long day, but then you think, okay, but we've helped those guys maybe in Amazon, or these people in chat, or I've talked to this brilliant scientist today and I've learned something new.
Yeah. That's
So
fantastic.
yeah, I think we're going to become by 2025, once we have this full constellation of 7 satellites. I think our aim is to become the experts,
Yeah.
like
Now, I
the leaders.
understand you have an office in Menlo Park, correct? Is that where the headquarters
Mhm.
are? Right.
Yeah.
So that's here in California, not too far from me. It's about an hour's drive away, and it happens to be really near to where I have family members that live there, Redwood City, Menlo Park, all these areas. So not too far away. Obviously, a hotbed for technology and a lot of great minds that are inspired and working to create more change in their own ways too. My husband actually works for a company called Joby Aviation that is doing vertical takeoff and landing, similar to I'm sure some projects that the Teslas of the world are also undertaking. But that eVTOL space, doing it purely electrically, so that we can have transportation that's both green, affordable, and enables us to get from one spot to another without creating a bunch of noise pollution is quite
Mhm.
interesting. I just got to
Awesome.
see a demo of it this last weekend.
Wow, you're lucky. I just want to make sure we get it right. It's not Menlo Park, it's Mountain View. I just
Mountain View,
checked the
okay,
website.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's very
Yes.
close, and sorry, I think of Bay Area as all one spot, so it's, I actually lived for a while in Mountain View, but I've been in Northern California since 1994, so it's been a while,
I
yeah.
love Northern California. I once stayed in Sequoia National Park for the summer.
Oh, wow.
And that's one that next to Yellowstone, right?
Yeah, Sequoia Yellowstone,
I think they're close. There's Sacramento, then San Francisco, and then there's Sequoia National Park with the tallest trees in the world.
I think you
Beautiful,
mean
fantastic.
Yosemite, right?
Yosemite, I'm
Yosemite.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See, like I do that too sometimes. Yellowstone is in the Dakotas, so that's up north, but
yeah,
yeah,
sorry about
Wyoming and
that.
all that. Yeah. See, we both get a little wires crossed here and there. But gosh,
Sure.
as it stands, being at the heart, Mountain View is officially the heart of the Bay Area. Facebook, of course, is headquartered now in Menlo Park, but then you have Apple Computers is in Cupertino. I mean, they're all kind of right in this throbbing technology spot. So ultimately, I'm sure that it will be easy to lure some people over with those do-gooder hearts to work with you and who are well versed in creating algorithms that will make a world of difference and ultimately improve upon the technology day after day. It's
Yeah, I
very
think we
fascinating.
have a lot of people from all over the world. We have people from India, we have people from United States, from
Mhm.
Sweden, from Mexico. It's very diverse.
Yeah, and to your point too, though, NASA has a office there in Mountain View as well, so you've got some.
Then I have to go.
Well, if there's a question I have to ask you at this point, if there's a question I haven't asked that you wish I had, or something you wanted to dive in a little bit more deeply into, you could ask and answer that question or offer some closing thoughts.
I just want to, share the thought that we should be kinder. I
Mm,
think this year showed us that it's very important to be kind, and it's not only to the human beings, but to our planet. It's very actually fragile. And, follow us on social media. We're showcasing everything that we do, and we do a lot. Sometimes it's too many news that we have to post twice a day, and I think there's a lot of nice stuff. And if you like to reach out and talk about science in a manner that I can perform, or you want to talk about the environment and the technology that we use, I'll be happy.
great. Now I understand your website is simply eos.com,
Yeah.
a
And our social
three-letter
media is
website.
EOS.
Those are
Yeah.
hard to come by.
Yeah. It's very old domain. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So, for anybody curious, you can take a peek at eos.com. And then, as far as your social channels, which are you the most active on? Would you say Twitter is a spot to live? Instagram?
Not Instagram. Instagram is probably for the students that we're trying to lurk.
Yeah,
So, this researchers, LinkedIn, LinkedIn and
LinkedIn.
Facebook. Probably, I
Awesome.
love LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn because we're all advocates of our brand. And Facebook, yeah, Facebook has all kinds of posts.
Yeah. I think I was stalking you a little bit on Instagram, I'm sorry, LinkedIn, which was why I actually asked the question about your earlier career. I saw that you'd done some work with, I think, Britney Spears and some people on
Yeah.
people in fame. So, I mean, it must be just a different world, working with these
Well, I
big
had
conglomerates.
very, very many, a lot, I would say a lot of different projects I've been working on. And with the Britney Spears, it was Britney Spears, Madonna, and Cirque du Soleil. I was a student and I worked as an event manager. Then I worked on some academic program for students. Then I worked on a parental control app. Then I
Right.
worked on some cryptocurrency. Then on a travel agency. Then on animal protection. And finally, space. And I hope this
See?
is gonna last. Yeah, it's been 2 years, and I'm not tired at all
I
from
love
learning
that.
so many things.
No, I feel that way about the podcast, it's like it's not my first show to the rodeo in the world of marketing, so to speak, but, it's a different world, and I feel like I get to have really interesting conversations, connect with people like yourself who are really working to make the world a better place, and it's been my journey to double down on that effort from my professional life too, because even while I work to do good within the work field, and now I'm trying to help people improve their health with, instead of a fish oil, an algae oil that is more sustainably harvested, ultimately the most sustainable source because you go to this direct source of omega-3 as opposed to consuming fish. But ultimately, that's one thing, right? And it was never
Hmm.
quite enough for me. So I wanted to put this podcast in the world to help educate people beyond just, a B2B world and also consumers and about all of the things that really great people are out there doing to help be a part of the solution, tell the better stories So I really, really love and appreciate the
That's a
societal
fantastic job.
impact. I love that you're actually showcasing these stories, these real stories of real people on the ground in different spots around the globe. So I'm definitely going to keep a finger on that pulse, and I'll work to retell some of those stories as they come up too, as I do news features.
Oh, that will be
So,
fantastic. If anything, it's a very long research, but I always say if you are tired of reading, we always have 1 or 2 minutes video with the
oh, great.
participants, and you have like this short story, you get all of the information, and it's easy for everyone to digest.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Vera.
Thank you
I,
so
I
much, and
really,
thank you for your patience for rescheduling this and making it happen.
yeah, four or five times of rescheduling, but sickness and craziness and
And
floods. My
craziness.
office actually did flood. I know I shared in
I'm
a
so
prior
sorry.
episode that a friend of mine had had their farm completely submerged, which was a real problem, of course, for all the animals he manages. But I thought, oh, well, I'm on a hill. It won't happen to me, right? I'm on a hill. It'll be fine. But what had happened is that the ground got so saturated here that it started to seep up through the concrete foundation of my lowest level, which also happens to be where my studio and office is.
Oh my
So,
God.
climate change is real. And
Climate
I,
change
I
is real.
I think it's
Yes.
time for us to say, okay, we have all the data in the world. We have companies like EOS Data Analytics out there showing us that it's real and these are the impacts. And here's the areas that are, having challenges. I mean,
Mhm.
we need to figure a better path forward, and it's going to take all hands on deck to do it, which means that we can cobble together solutions that come from your company and from others. I mean, I just interviewed a while ago the CEO of Monarch Tractor. They're making a fully electric tractor that can be fully autonomous. So let's say you interlace something that you're doing with your data with a tractor that you can program to go out into the land
Mhm.
and do XYZ without, let's say, having to incur a ton of man hours, then you can
Yes.
kind of have these technologies work together to offer more support and to create just a better way of procuring our food, of preserving our soil, of doing really you leveraging technology to solve some of the problems that, to your earlier point, we've created. So I
There's so
think that's
many
my
people
closing
working on
thoughts.
it. There's so many bright minds, and there's so many people trying to reach out to everyone. And I think I don't know who said it, but they said when the rich people will start feeling it, the change will come. And I think it was last year, I think, or maybe 2 years before, when in Bavaria region in Germany, the woman was interviewed, like middle age, and she said, but I didn't expect it to happen here in Germany. I know it can happen in Indonesia. And this is
Mm,
the problem, the mindset that it only happens in some poor country or it doesn't matter. No, it matters. And like right now, we can see fires going everywhere, flooding going everywhere. We can understand it's gonna just escalate. And so I think all of us can be advocates for this. And it's democracy in most of the countries. We elect the people, and they should listen to us.
right.
Yeah.
Well, and to that point, overall, climate affects everybody.
Yes. Yes. Rich
No
or
amount of
poor.
money is going to keep you from being evacuated if fires encroach on your villa,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The entire city of Scotts Valley, where I live, was evacuated for 10 days back in the fires of 2020. Now,
Mm-hmm.
luckily, my house wasn't taken, but those of people I know were. And that
Mm-hmm.
speaks nothing to the vast amounts of wildlife that were damaged and to
Yes,
the
I
animal
saw it.
life that
I
we
saw
lost.
documentaries. It looks like a horror movie.
It's the same thing as when you look at Australia and all the wildfires there,
Yes. In
it's,
Greece and Turkey, it's everywhere.
and even the wine
And right
region,
now, it's the hottest winter in Europe. The
yep,
hottest.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And you see Bordeaux region of France, even with wildfires. So, these are spots where you didn't typically see this level of uncertainty. And, for the weather systems to just seem to get stronger and stronger, every indication is that that will continue for a while, even if we were to stop all the CO2 emissions immediately. So we need to get smarter and we need to be there to support one another. We need to lock arms and offer hope at the same time, which is something I'm really thrilled to learn that EOS is helping to do as well. So thank you so much again, Vera, for spending this time with me
Thank you
today.
so much.
Now, I'll go ahead and do the close if you want to stick around for that and then
Sure.
bring you back up. and we can just have a little word. As I said a couple of times earlier, to learn more about EOS Data Analytics, please visit eos.com. You can explore their website, even start a trial if you so chose, and get that free 14 days. Now, you can also visit show notes for direct links to their social channels, including LinkedIn and also Facebook. I might even take a peek on Instagram as well. Now, as always, you will find our complete show notes, including transcripts and resources you won't find anywhere else on caremorebebetter.com. I encourage you to take a peek there. You can watch the video version of this podcast on YouTube or on our website directly. And while I also want to encourage you to think a little bit more about what the impact is you're having, I would like to invite you to visit our Instagram page at caremore.bebetter. What we're doing there each Monday is hosting a Be Better Challenge. That's hashtag Be Better Challenge. And we're educating people about what they can do in their daily lives to help be a part of the change and create that better world. Some topics that we've covered are everything from donating your time to a local charity in need, to thinking about what you can do when disaster does strike in your local community, to even just making less food waste so that we don't have as much methane production in our landfill, to composting, to whatever the next subject may be. But really, it's an invitation for you to learn a little bit more about a particular subject through a simple post and perhaps a video, as well as a blog that I might also publish. So I encourage you to take a peek there. Follow the Be Better Challenge hashtag on Instagram and on TikTok. And one last thing, if you enjoyed today's conversation, please subscribe and write us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. This helps more people to discover the show. Thank you, listeners and watchers, now and always, for being a part of this pod and this community, because together we really can do so much more. We can care more, we can be better, we can make more informed decisions with the important data of companies like EOS Data Analytics. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Care More, Be Better, a podcast for social good. To make sure you never miss an episode, subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts, and share with your friends to help us reach more people and spread more social good.